Welcome to the Dom Sub Devotion Podcast.
Every episode of Dom Sub Devotion shares the lessons learned from our experience of love, devotion, and desire inside of our 24/7 Dom Sub marriage.
We've found that dominance and submission is more than just a kink. For us, it's been a path to deep intimacy and desire that lasts over the long term. We share our experience through this podcast to be the example that we didn't have when we started down this path, and to help you find your way to a dynamic that works in your real life.
You can learn more about us and our courses and offerings in the show notes and at infinitedevotion.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dom Sub Devotion. My name is Andrew, and on Dom Sub Devotion, I work to teach about what it takes to make dominant-submissive dynamics work inside of loving, healthy relationships. And I talk a lot about what dominance is and what it isn't. And the truth is that the foundation of everything that I teach, everything that Dawn and I live, it isn't about what I do to her. It's about how I am with myself. That's where everything starts. And on today's episode, I'm going to teach you about, or share with you really, some of the things that I do to stay connected to my internal strength, to cultivate my power in a way that makes our whole relationship and our whole life one that is safe for Dawn to let go of control inside of. Because this all begins with self-command, with self-control. This isn't about controlling her or commanding her. This is about me having a relationship with myself where I can lead from strength, where leadership is just natural, where she can let go of control easily without me having to make her or force her or even ask her, but because she actually wants to, because she actually feels safe enough. So again, this episode is not about how I dom my wife. This is about how I dom myself. It's about the things that I do every day to stay grounded in and connected to a sense of my internal authority. The ways that I cultivate my own energy. The ways that I stay steady and clear and fully present inside of myself. So what I'm going to share with you today are not hacks. They are not tricks. They aren't even something that I'm suggesting that you emulate or copy or repeat for yourself. This is how I do it. And I'm sharing it with you for some practical examples of what it is that makes this work for us. So as you listen to this, if you are a man, if you're a dominant, and you hear some ideas here that resonate with you, take what sounds like and feels like it would work for you. Leave the rest behind. If you're a woman listening to this can give you a couple of different ideas. One, it can help you see the amount of intentionality that it takes to hold the kind of presence and the kind of dominance that you might be looking for in a man. Please, women, don't take what I share here and compare your partner to it. This is something that has taken me a long time to get to a point where I can hold and run my life in the way that I run my life. So this is shared with a lot of humility, and it's shared with from my perspective, with a really deep understanding of the fact that this is not what would work for everyone, but there are certain things in the way that I live my life that I think some people might benefit from hearing. Because this isn't about perfection. This is about self-care. This is about inner strength. And this is about really looking after myself so I can show up for myself, for Dawn, for all of you, all of the people that I coach, all of the people in our courses, that I can hold as much as I can hold. I have to take care of me. This is something where I have to tend to myself every single day. And any man that wants to really hold and feel a sense of dominance in himself, you're going to need to tend to yourself, to take care of yourself. This is how I do it for me. So let's go ahead and get started. I couldn't start anywhere else without starting here. And that is the fact that I have had to get very good at saying no and protecting my time, protecting my energy. Everything about our life requires that I am able to be present. Everything about our relationship, everything about our business requires me to be able to really be there. And that's not something I can do if I am rushed, if I'm busy, if I'm hurried, if I'm overwhelmed, if I'm burned out. There has to be space in my life in order to do everything that I need to do and to be who I want to be. So getting good at saying no, and what I mean saying no is sometimes it's saying no to Dawn, it's saying no to projects, it's saying no to taking on new clients, it's saying no to doing more than I have the capacity to do. And that word capacity is important because this isn't just about could I squeeze it in? Could I make time? There are a lot of different things that I could do that would make our business even more quote unquote successful. More followers, more customers, more money. But if I put work and money and customers and followers and all of those things above taking care of myself, then what is there going to be left of me to give? And this started now almost exactly 10 years ago. I woke up on New Year's Day of 2016. And I was looking forward at the year that was to come. And I remember thinking, looking at my bills, looking at my mortgage payment, looking at the employees at my company at the time that relied on me, at all of the obligations that I had, and how I was going to be committed to giving my time away for that entire year to meet so many obligations to other people, to debts that I had taken on because of things that I thought were going to make me happy. My time was spoken for by things that I had already committed to. And at that point, what I considered my highest value was freedom. And when I looked at my life, I felt like I had very little of it. Freedom being, in my words, the ability to do what I want to do with my life. I didn't want to do all of the things I was doing anymore. But I had promises. I had made promises. So on January 2nd of 2016, I made as many phone calls as I could, and I quit as many things as I could quit. Places where resigning, backing down, pulling back, quitting groups that I was a part of, resigning positions on volunteer committees, things like this where I could regain and recapture some of my time. I made all of those phone calls on January 2nd before I started my workday. And I recaptured some of my energy. And I would even go so far as to say now, the life that I've built now 10 years later, where I do really have complete control over what I do with my time. When I wake up in the morning till I go to bed at night, I don't do anything I don't want to do. And I have freedom and flexibility. I built that out of the time that I carved out by saying no to as much as I could say no to. Because then what I started to do was build habits and take new approaches to how I was going through life so that I could use the time that I had to carve out more time, to clean up more obligations, to exit more things with integrity, to back away. And so I protected those bits of space and time and energy that I carved out, and I've continued to do that to a point where now I have the space to do what I want to do. If I want to take on a new project, I can take that on. If I want more freedom and flexibility to travel, I can say no. And so this has involved me getting a lot of control over my life and my time so that I could do things like building infinite devotion, like recording this Dom Sub Devotion podcast every week now for the last over 2 years, where I had more time to devote to my relationship and to build the Dom Sub dynamic that Dawn and I have in the way that I want it to be. All of this started with the habit of learning to say no. The rest of what I share here in this episode are really ways that I go about living my life. And so the specific things that I do with the time that I have in order to build this sense of inner strength, to show up in a way that is and feels dominant to me, that allows Dawn to feel taken care of. And for me on a day-to-day basis, this starts with my morning. I wake up early. I wake up usually between 4:45 and 5 a.m. That can vary a little bit because we travel, we're in different time zones, but I will revert my body to waking up at or slightly before 5 o'clock, wherever we are. And this isn't to work. I don't wake up early to grind, to get shit done. The first thing that I do is I wake up and I pour a cup of coffee and I sit down and I spend some time with myself, doing nothing. I do my best not to get into thoughts and get into letting my brain take over about what I want or what I need to do that day. A quiet, unrushed start to the day, for me, sets the tone for me of being sovereign over my life and over my time. I'm there and I'm tending to myself. And I'll spend the first half hour of my morning slowly sipping on a cup of coffee, looking at the fireplace, petting my dog, breathing, before I go into a more formal meditation practice. And this is where I will sit and do a breath-focused meditation for usually 15 to 30 minutes. The difference between the meditation and that quiet, peaceful time before it, for me, is that when I enter the meditation, what I'm doing is training my focus. I'm not going to get into everything about meditation here or what it is for me. I don't follow different schools of meditation. What I do is I sit down and I breathe. And I notice and try to pay attention to my breath. And when I notice that my mind has wandered off into some other random thought or squirreled away down some rabbit hole, I just notice it and I bring my attention back to my breath. It's a focus and attention training device for me. It helps me learn to gather some sense of ability to direct where I'm putting my attention, so that my mind isn't running the show and dragging me around with it, but so that I can deploy my mind in the direction that I want it to go. So this is a training exercise. When I'm done with that meditation, I will generally step into a visualization exercise. And I visualize not because I'm trying to create or force an outcome, but I am trying to align myself with what it is that I desire, with my vision for my life. And I'll talk a little bit later in this episode about my vision and how I stay attuned to my vision. But I visualize myself in the life that I am building and creating, the direction that I'm going, what it is that I'm trying to create in my dynamic with Dawn, in my life, financially, with my business, everything that I desire. I'm imagining myself feeling comfortable in the future life that I'm building for myself. So I'm trying to build a coherence between my energy now and the life that I'm creating. The rest of my morning routine involves journaling. I will generally, after meditation, after visualization, I will pull up my journal and I will write down whatever is going through my head that morning. It's just a way of expressing the stuff that's going on inside of me. My journal is an absolute train wreck. It has no structure, it has no order, it has no point or purpose other than to be a bucket where I can empty my thoughts out. Sometimes those thoughts turn into ideas. If they turn into ideas, I save them somewhere else. I'll share a little bit about that in a moment too. But the journaling time is really, it's a dump. It's a download of, in a lot of cases, the things that came up for me when I was doing my meditation and visualization practice. And then I will get up and go for a walk. Generally, I do this alone. Sometimes I take my dog. If he manages to get his butt off of his bed, he will come with me. Sometimes he's still sleeping after he's come over for his morning pets. He goes back to bed. But I go outside for a walk, even when it's cold, even when it's raining. Put on a raincoat, grab an umbrella. I get outside, I get some breath, I get some fresh air, and I start to move and feel myself in my body. So the point of this morning routine for me is that I set the pace for my life. I set the pace for my day. I set the pace for what it is that's going to happen and how I'm going to go through my day. This grounds me in my life, in my body, in my day. I've started the day by taking care of myself. I've started the day by tending to me, by cultivating my own energy. Now for me, because I've carved out and created this life for myself where I have the freedom to do what I would like with my time, I will generally spend a couple hours just on that morning routine. Waking up, cup of coffee, meditation, visualization, journaling, going for a walk. And then I make breakfast for Dawn. So that's how I start out my day. And this puts me on the path of my day being mine, being sovereign over my day moving at my pace. Which is very much a contrast to how my life was 10 years ago, when I would wake up and my whole day was a mess of me trying to chase everything around, fix every problem. I was busy from the moment I woke up till the moment I went to bed. Now I wake up, I still have things that I do. I never get bored. I just move slowly through the things that matter to me. Another thing that I do to tend to myself, to take care of me and help myself stay connected to feeling solid, dominant, strong, is taking care of my physical fitness. Taking care of my body. I've told this story many times on this podcast, but I used to weigh close to 100 pounds more than I weigh right now. For me, for a long time, fitness was something I did because I hated myself. I hated how I looked. I hated my body. And what I've learned over time is how to make fitness into a way that I take care of myself. Being strong makes me feel better. being lean makes me feel better. When I am in good physical condition, I feel better about myself. And that relates to how other people perceive and feel me. Now, if there are times when I feel like I need to be able to regulate my emotions better, if I have anger to move, yes, sometimes I can channel that through fitness, through the way that I work out. But I'm generally not using fitness to beat myself up. For me, fitness, weightlifting, endurance training, these things have taught me how to be consistent. They've taught me how to be reliable, how to show up for myself, how to make a promise to myself and then follow through on that promise because I made a promise to myself. And now, training, fitness, these are things that I do because I feel good, because I want to take care of myself. It's a natural extension of the love for myself that I've developed. I've learned how to actually love myself. And when I actually love myself, I naturally want to take better care of myself. Funny how that works. But when you hate your body, when you hate your life, when there's something that you don't like, and all you want to do is get away from it, you might be able to escape. This is just what I've learned. You might be able to escape momentarily. But if the drive and the motivation is still on what you don't want, you haven't really overcome the reason that you have the problem in the first place. So I spend a fairly large amount of time taking care of my body, walking 10 to 15,000 steps a day, lifting weights 3 or 4 times a week. I get on my rower and do endurance training. I like to go cycling. I live an active life. And I do this because I enjoy it, because it's fun, and because I like taking care of myself. Another thing that I do that helps me cultivate my inner strength and cultivate a sense of dominance is learning to be a good listener. Listening is the purest form of presence. Being able to hear other people's experience, to be curious about their experience, to listen when Dawn is having emotional challenges or she's processing things, to be able to be there, to really hear her. Yes, it's valuable for her, but it's even more valuable for me. It's even more valuable for me because not only does it help me attune to her, this is another, almost a form of meditation. Listening to other people, deeply listening, with curiosity, with a real desire to understand, trains your nervous system in a way. This is almost like weightlifting for your nervous system, to learn that you are safe in other people's experiences, that other people can be having chaotic experiences, they can be having emotional experiences. And learning to listen helps me see that what they are experiencing isn't about me. That is a person having their own experience. And that, to me, has been one of the most understated and underappreciated practices for myself in developing a sense of inner strength, is just learning to listen. Also, as I've learned to listen to others better, it's helped me listen to myself. It's helped me also recognize what it takes to be attentive to my own inner state, to recognize when I'm out of balance. Because I have to be able to know that about me if I'm going to tend to myself, if I'm going to take care of myself. I need to know when I start to feel a little bit off, so that I don't have to go until I crash into a wall to realize that, oh, I've been dropping the ball on me. So being able to listen to myself helps me, for example, notice when I start to get into a trigger, or I start to feel reactivity or defensiveness coming up inside of myself. When I can listen to myself, I feel the very beginning flutters of that. And I can go sit with that, rather than letting it erupt, or letting myself collapse, or letting something some unconscious pattern take over. So this is about awareness of the moment, and it is not just something that you get to achieve later. It's something that you can train and practice by learning to listen to others. Now here's another thing that I do that maybe comes a little bit out of left field, but I hope I'll be able to help this make sense. To build this sense of inner dominance, I work on building competence and capability in myself. So what I'm getting at with this is that when I can do something, not only do I appear more impressive, I feel more impressive. And again, I've said this 1,000 times. Dominance is about how you feel about yourself. When you feel confident, when you feel good about yourself, when you feel solid in yourself, other people feel that and they want to follow you. It really comes down to that. So when you build competence, you trust yourself more. Knowing that I can take care of as many things as possible means that I feel more powerful in a larger number of situations and circumstances. So how do you build competence? Well, for me, it's just about learning to do more things. For example, when there's something that breaks, rather than just replacing it, let's see if I can learn how to fix it. Let's see if YouTube University can help me figure out how to do this. My truck breaks down. How easy is it to call my emergency road service, hook it up to a tow truck, bring it into a shop, they fix it, I pay them, and then I just keep on going? But what if I just see if there's anything I can do? Can I figure anything out here? Can I learn something can I do something about this? Every time that you learn something new, you take responsibility, you step up, even if you can't figure it out, you tried. For me, I will always, to the best of my ability, try to be as competent as I can about everything in my life. Well, part of what goes with this is a willingness to look dumb, a willingness to fail, a willingness to be a beginner. How many times have you noticed in your life where you haven't known how to do something and you haven't wanted to ask someone? It's amazing how much people love to help other people. It's amazing how much other men love to help other men who are trying to figure out or want to learn something. Find somebody else who knows how and say, I don't know how to replace the fuel filter on my lawnmower. Do you? Would you teach me? Don't be afraid to be a beginner. Or as my friend Eric has said on the Conscious Dominance podcast that we used to do together before, it's okay to do things badly at first. You have to learn to do things badly so that you can learn to do things well. It takes practice. But building a sense of competence or capability also, for me, lends to feeling more calm, more confident. There are less things in my life that can throw me for a loop when I am more trusting in myself to be able to handle whatever comes my way. Competence for me is quiet dominance. When you can handle life, when I can handle whatever life throws at me, the more that I learn how to handle things that I didn't know how to do, the more solid that I feel, and the more that I'm able to trust myself. When you can trust yourself, other people can trust you. So for me, the trust that I have in myself brings a sense of confidence and a sense of calmness that allows Dawn to feel more calm and more able to let go, because she doesn't need to worry about what is going to happen if something, all these what if situations. The more confident I feel that whatever the what if is, that I trust myself that I'll be able to handle it, because I've built not just a set of skills, but the trust in myself to figure out how to do things I don't know how to do. That makes her feel safer to set down control. So don't underestimate the power of just getting good at stuff. Another thing that I do, another one of these examples of how I tend to myself or cultivate a sense of dominance, is using systems to create freedom. What do I mean when I say that? I try to organize life to take the mental load off of trying to remember things that comes from trying to remember everything. So, a calendar is a great place to start with this. I went so many years of my life avoiding calendaring things. I didn't want to be tied down. I wanted to handle life as it came. But what that really ended up doing was putting me at the whim of all of the uncertainty, things that I could never manage to control even if I wanted to. And then I always felt like I was chasing everything around. So I remember hearing someone say this, and if anybody knows who or where this came from, please tell me, I'll give them credit. But the point of this was, you don't use a calendar to tyrannize yourself. You use a calendar to control the things that have to be done, to create space in your life for you to do what you want to do. That changed my perspective on structure and on time structure and on time management. Because now what I do is I use external structure to free up space, to free up mental energy, to batch together all of the crap that you have to do with life so that I can get it done, make sure it gets done, not forget it, and then have it done with and not have it just eating up space in my head. For me to be able to be and feel dominant in my life, I can't rely on my memory. I need to be able to use my brain towards creative pursuits, towards leadership, towards the things that matter more to me than remembering to give Snoop Dogg his heartworm medication. Yes, if you're new here, my dog's name is Snoop Dogg. It's a system that keeps track of my commitments, my promises, my obligations, so that I don't have to remember. One of the things that I use is an adapted version of the getting things done time management strategy. I won't go into a ton of depth with this here, but I'll tell you the basics of what I do is I keep a list where everything that pops into my head that I need to remember, that I need to do later, it all gets put down in one list. I use Apple's Reminders app because it's on my phone, it's on the Apple Watch, it's on my laptop, so I can just unload something when it comes into my head. Sometimes even when I'm meditating. Something comes into my head that I need to remember to do later. I will just either speak it into my phone or I will type it down or jot it down. It goes in that list. And then since I check the list, I make sure that I don't forget anything. And then I have a whole series of reminders of things that just need to be done every week, things that need to be done every month, things that need to be done every quarter, things that need to be done once a year, where I have these recurring repetitive tasks that just help me manage the little details. I also use a calendar to keep track of everything that needs to be done on a certain time schedule. Right? This is basic stuff, but they're things that I avoided, and they're things that doing well help me stay feeling solid in myself, like I have some control over my reality. So when everything goes on a list, when everything goes on a calendar, and I free up my space, and I can block out time in my calendar so that I have time, like Dawn and I, when we travel, we like to go see the different national parks, go hiking, do things that we can do in the middle of the week when places are less busy. Because if there's work that I need to do, because of the way that I've set my life up, I can do it on the weekend. I can do it on Saturday midday when everybody else who works a 9 to 5 is out doing the recreational things that we want to do. So taking ownership and control of your time and using good time management, for me, helps free myself up. And this helps to create a sense of having life. This helps me create a feeling in myself where I have life managed well. Again, it's that sense of confidence, of knowing that I've got my shit together. Last couple of thoughts or ideas here. The daily review. I mentioned this a little bit ago at the beginning about how I stay attuned to what my vision is, what my values are. My goal is to make my decisions in a way that's congruent with and aligned with my values. So I need to remember what it is that my values are, what it is my vision is. I need to have these things top of mind. You don't just write out a vision for your life and then forget about it. Have you ever done a vision exercise where you really think about what it is that you want out of your life? You probably have. Do you remember it? How much is it impacting how you actually live your life and your days? So for me, at the beginning of every day, as a part of that morning routine, I take a look at something that I just call my daily review. And I'm going to pull it up here as I'm talking to you on the podcast. If you're watching the YouTube, I apologize. You're going to watch me read for a second here. So I have my daily review. I look at this every morning, and I look at this every night before I go to bed. Every single morning, every single night, no matter what. I have this on my laptop. I have it on my phone. It's always with me. I can always look. So I can look at my vision. What is my vision for my life? For my life. I also have a vision for our dynamic and our relationship that I look at. What is it that I'm here to do? What am I creating myself to be? And where is it that I'm leading our relationship and our dynamic? I look at my values. What are the things that I value in what order? I need to have these top of mind, because when I'm forced to make a decision, my commitment is to be congruent between who I am and what I do. My values tell me who I am and what I stand for. What do I value the most is what's true. Authenticity, abundance, integrity, sexual liberation, beauty, humility, and fun. That is what I value, and I make my decisions based on those values. And I look at those values twice a day to remind myself, what do I stand for? What matters the most to me? And I let myself consider, am I actually living my life in alignment with these things. It helps me be willing to see where maybe I've drifted, where I've lost the path, so to speak. Bring myself back in line if I need to. Check myself. And then a part of this daily review are just some notes for myself. Things that I might be personally working on or working through that I want to keep top of mind throughout my day. Reminders to myself like, be gentle with yourself. I put that on there when I was going through a period where I was being pretty hard on myself. I was pushing myself a little more than felt healthy to me. I was getting down on myself. And so I gave myself a reminder. Be gentle with yourself. Other things I have on here are, I do not do anything in a hurry. I live on my own time at my own pace. I learn from my mistakes. I don't limit myself because of them. I trust in the abundance of life to bring me amazing outcomes. Things like this. Things that I just want to have in my head. Things that I want to remember as I go through my day. So I look at that daily review twice a day. It helps keep me on task. It helps keep me in integrity to what it is that I want, where I'm going, what matters to me. And this keeps me also in alignment and out of impulse. This is the place for me where I would most tend to get off track with the life that I wanted to build, is I would follow impulses and whims. I would go for the short-term pleasure, the letting myself eat the snack, letting my attention wander to scrolling in my phone. The things that don't actually help me live the life I want to live, but they maybe feel good in the moment. This daily review helps keep me aligned with what it is that really matters to me. And again, when I'm living a life that's aligned, that's congruent, that's solid, where I'm in integrity, this helps me feel more solid. And when I feel more solid, everyone else around me feels that in me. This is about cultivation of my energy, cultivation of my strength, and just the simple act of keeping myself on task. Keeping myself in alignment is a massive, massive value for me. And the last thing, this is a relatively new one for me, but it's something that I wanted to share here, is habit building. There's a great app that I just discovered probably a month ago called Streaks. I'm probably late to the party. Everybody else might already know this. But this app called Streaks lets me enter habits that I want to build or habits that I want to break. And then every day when I complete that task, I go in there, I complete it, and it shows me how many days in a row that I have done that thing. And so this helps. It's helping me to build new habits or to hold myself accountable to things that I want to do more of. It's a way for me to keep promises to myself. It's a way that I lead myself, that I dom myself into being the best version of me that I can be. There are some things that I needed to get better at. One of them was stretching. I was as stiff as a board. I still am. But I decided that if I could build a habit of stretching every day, started with 10 minutes a day, do that every single day, and build a streak and see if I can do 100 days in a row. Not only would I build that new habit, but I might actually start to loosen up a little bit. I might start to be a little bit more flexible. And that would feel a lot better in my body. So this is another place where I'm making promises to myself. I'm delivering on those promises. And then I'm getting to experience myself feeling the results of following through on those promises. There are some new projects I'm working on that I'm not going to share with you here yet, but you'll learn about them soon enough, where I'm using this app to build the habit of doing the work on those projects. I'm using this app to remind myself to do my meditations and my visualization every day. So I'm building these habits and I'm reinforcing these habits in myself. So this is a great way for me, and I think that might be valuable for some of you out there, to build new habits that kind of create this dominant frame in a way that's invisible. That isn't about you trying to look dominant, but really building discipline without needing to force it, without needing to prove it, just by showing up every day. It motivates continued and consistent presence. And presence is really the word here. Everything that I shared here today, these things about routines and habits, building systems, they all serve the concept of being able to be present. Because, again, if dominance isn't about what you do to a partner, if it isn't just about kink, it's something deeper. It's about who you are and how you feel about yourself. And those things are built with consistency, with perseverance. They're built in those private, quiet moments when you can decide, are you going to be who you say that you are? Are you going to do what you said you were going to do or not? They're built in those moments when you keep your word to yourself. When you get up early, even when nobody's watching, and nobody knows if you slept in. You take the time to reflect, to be with yourself, to set your own pace for your life, or do you let busyness take over? This is how you make your leadership, your dominance, trustworthy. It's how you make your confidence real rather than just being posturing. All of this builds a sense of calm, a sense of strength, that if you want a woman to submit to you, that she can. So again, these practices are just a way for me that I don't say, but I show that I've got myself. That I can take care of me. I don't need you to take care of me. I don't need anything from you so that I can be there for you, because I take care of me. When I've really got myself, when I'm tending to myself, then I have the energy to give, to take care of her, to run our business, to manage our life where we're traveling and nomadic and all over the place all the time. I can handle all of it when I prioritize taking care of me, taking care of my life. So again, don't think of what I shared here as a checklist. If some of this is valuable to you, take it, use it, put it into practice, try it out. Let me know how it goes if you do. I would love to hear from you. But this isn't a checklist, and this isn't the right way. This is what I have learned for myself. This is how I've learned to honor myself, to show up for myself, to respect myself. So that being dominant doesn't become something that I'm performing for her or something I'm trying to do to get something from her. It's who I've become as a man. And presence, that's only built in private, with myself, by myself, those quiet moments. That's where you form a frame and a strength that's solid enough for her to surrender into. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Dom Sub Devotion. I will be back next week. And if you listened all the way to the end and you appreciated this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or on Spotify. If you are on YouTube, please leave a comment, subscribe, like the video. All of this stuff helps the message and what we're doing here on Dom Sub Devotion get out there to everyone who is listening or who might like to listen. So if you can leave us a 5-star, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up, Appreciate it very much, and we will see you next week.